Hello, I am Micah, and my topic is on myths and legends about Philadelphia. I produced this podcast on May 14th, 2016 at my home in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am very interested in myths and legends. It is actually one of my most favorite genres and stories. In this podcast, you will hear me talk about mostly scary things. This may be surprising, but I am really frightened by scary and horror-filled stories and movies. I mostly chose this topic to find out some amazing myths and tales about Philadelphia. The reason I love myths and legends so much is because I like thinking of myself after reading a book, thinking, wow, what if that really happened, or I'm so glad that's not my world. I remember the first and only book that I liked without anyone forcing me to read it. It was a mythical book. It was about siblings, a boy and a girl, who had a magic tree house that took them on quests and missions. It was almost like a teleporter because they went from places from the dinosaur age to the volcano that destroyed Pompeii. You should read it sometime. It is a really great series, and I think many people will like it. Now let me get specific about Philadelphia's myths and legends. My first story is about the bus to nowhere in Philadelphia. For example, the bus to nowhere is where you go if your wife stole all your money and left you for your best friend. The wandering bus has lots of people with lots of different problems. For example, the failing businessman, the addict's sister, a president, a police chief, and even a manager of the Phillies. There is no conversation on the bus to nowhere. When you get off, you can't remember who is on the bus with you, or how crowded it was on the bus. You will only remember that you sat by the window and watched the city slide through your clear reflection. At some point, you were moved to the cord, or one night you fell and your feet hit the pavement, and the bus is pulling away, and you found yourself near to where you needed to be. In articles, it is said that some people have ridden the bus for years on end. Other people predict that the bus will be to nowhere and will one day leave the city and take all of its passengers with it. A woman who was very educated and skilled said that there was a wandering bus in every city. There are even a few people that say if you ride the wandering bus long enough, you will one day be dropped off back to your troubles begin. Or almost saying that you will start your life all over again. Nicholas is the article's author, and Nicholas spent 2 years writing headlines for The Onion. He's not allowed to say which headlines, so let's assume they were great. Nicholas believes there is no issue too boring, thorny, or technical that it cannot be conveyed with clarity and a sense of humor. As a Tacoma native, Nicholas spent his 20s in Philadelphia, including 3 years managing communications for a bicycle advocacy nonprofit. A skilled writer, he enjoys finding creative ways to bridge the gap between public and the process, and knows that engaged stakeholders can be a project's greatest advantage. I also revealed another article about the wandering bus to get another source and a point of view in this particular myth. This article version by Alicia Grasso. Alicia covers a film and television for a number of articles with an emphasis on psychology, geek culture, myths, and marketing. A former college extra and current pop culture junkie, Alicia spent the last few years in the entertainment industry, studying and writing about the ways of this amazing, constantly changing business. Also, with being a contributor to Forbes magazine, Alicia currently is the editor-at-large for Movie Plot. In this article, Alicia talks about how in Philadelphia there is a bus. They say it is not marked by any route map, and it is a bus that belongs to the city, at least not in a way that is recognized by the public transport authorities. Most people who have seen it call it the wandering bus, or sometimes the Zero, as it has never shown a route or street destination, but it's been spotted at points all around the city by the hopeless and the lost. It's not a bus you'd ever wish to take. It only appears when people say you are at your lowest point you've ever been in your life. My second story that I chose from Myths and Legends is widely regarded as one of the most haunted sites in the country. The National Historic Landmark, Fort Mifflin, invites visitors to explore the intersection of history and mystery, with programs appealing to beginners and experienced investigators, as well as a curious history lover. I think that this topic fits in a lot with the theme I chose. Some people might not think the same because it is sort of a paranormal event going on, but I think that this topic being about ghosts can fit right in with legends. The second floor balcony of the barracks at Fort Mifflin is often visited by the spirit of the lamplighter. This is the man who lit the old lamps every evening. People can see him carrying a long pole and a dimly flickering light on the end. Then there is a faceless man who supposedly the ghost of the war criminal held in the cells during the Civil War. He was hung there. You can't see his face because before he was hung, his head was tied up in a black bag. Last, there is a screaming lady, who is the loudest of the ghosts at Fort Mifflin. She is never seen, but wails all the time. She is living out an eternity of regret for disowning her daughter. My third segment is definitely a myth, the Green Man. For many years, the tale of the Green Man has been once used by parents to keep their children scared enough to stay inside at night, and by locals to keep teenagers too spooked to enter the abandoned train tunnel just outside of town. The legend says that the Green Man, once an employee of a local company, was horribly disfigured and in a terrible accident that melted his face and turned his skin into a deep green color. Those who were fortunate enough to stumble across the Green Man would realize that he was in fact flesh and blood. He often left feeling a bit sorry for him after stopping for a chat. Raymond and the Green Man's real name took the ghost hunts in stride though, even capitalizing on his popularity by offering to pose for photographs for a price. Teenagers used to drive into tunnels, turn off their lights, and call out to the Green Man, who would appear from the darkness, his skin tinged green from a tragic electrical accident. If he touched your car's electrical charge, would either stall the vehicle or make it difficult to start. An occult historian and paranormal investigator named Kent Summers recently uncovered the true story of the Green Man, complete with some rare photographs of the faceless ghost. And it's a lot more sad than scary. In truth, the Green Man's real name was Raymond Robinson. Through those who traveled to Pennsylvania's Route 315, in the middle of the night, he was known as Charlie No Face. In 1918, when Raymond was just a boy, he was climbing on a train track bridge when he accidentally snagged against the power line. The subsequent shock sent 22,000 volts of electricity screaming through his body, quite literally melting his face off. When the smoke had settled, he had lost both of his eyes, his nose, an ear, and even an arm. As he grew up, Raymond quickly became a victim of bullying. Raymond became aware of people's cruel nature, earning him nicknames like the Zombie, and always hearing the screaming of terrified children over the years. Raymond was able to find a comfort in long walks down State Route 351. He only took his hikes at night so that he could minimize the amount of people he might frighten. Being blind, it meant that at night it was the same thing as walking in the morning. This article does not have an author. It is a website called Road Trippers. Road Trippers is the complete road trip planner that lets you map out your entire route. It finds places relevant to you, tells you history about that place, and even talks about myths and create a travel journey that gets you set on the road trip for a lifetime. For my fourth story, we all know Philadelphia is a very historical place, from Penn's Landing to Independence Hall. Surrounded by these historical hotspots, of course reporters have popped up. It shouldn't be surprising that over the years, urban legends, myths, and hauntings have been reported. My fourth story main focus will be on the City Tavern that was opened up in 1773. The City Tavern on 2nd Street was the unofficial meeting place for the First Continental Congress. It was demolished in 1854 due to a fire. Later reconstructed, it is currently a highly regarded restaurant, receiving 3 Emmy Awards for the taste of history. This does not stop the ghost sightings from occurring. A former waiter who died in the tavern in a bar fight, a young bride who burned in the fire have reportedly been seen. Gabrielle Capucci is the author of this article. Gabrielle Capucci is a single mom who loves to write and is looking for someone to give her an opportunity to broaden her horizon in the writing field. In conclusion, my topic was a myth and a legend. I talked a lot about different haunted places and historical places in Philadelphia. As I've said before, I am very interested in myths and legends, and it's one of my most favorite genres and stories. I talked a lot about horror and haunted places, but I felt it was something worth including. Yes, I am still frightened by scary and horror-filled stories and movies, but I feel different about the whole genre, and I feel more comfortable. I mostly chose this topic to find out amazing myths and tales about Philadelphia, which I did, but I also found out about a genre I was not mostly interested in.